Scanning. Identity confirmed. Signal acquired. Initiating transmission. Stand by. Contacting Imperial High Council. Initiating Project Storytime.
Greetings, members of the Imperial High Council. Today, I just kind of wanted to explain my style for making my Star Trek videos. So, why start with Enterprise? Well, most other people that I've seen covering Star Trek, they pick episodes from all over the various series or voted on by their supporters. Well, I wanted to do something different, so I'm going in chronological order. It will be pretty straightforward for quite a while. We'll go through all but the last episode of Enterprise, which I'll get to in a second. Then all of the original series, the animated series, all 6 original series films, and then Next Generation. Then Season 6 of TNG, Deep Space Nine starts up, and we'll be going in between them. Then during Season 7 of TNG, we'll do the final episode of Enterprise, as it's shoehorned into a far better TNG episode. Then TNG will finish, and we'll go back and forth between Deep Space Nine, the TNG films, and then Voyager starts up. Eventually, DS9 will end, Voyager will end, and we'll finish up with the final TNG movie, Nemesis. What a note to end on. Am I planning on covering Discovery, Picard, Lower Decks, and all the other new shows? At the making of this video, no. I won't say I'll never cover them, but it won't be for a while. Now, what exactly are my trope ratings that I put at the end of every review? I came up with a list of 16 commonly used tropes that happen many times in Star Trek stories. This isn't an indication that the episode is bad, just how many times these elements are used. Now, what are my tropes? As I said, I have a list of 16. Why 16? Well, I had to put a limit on somewhere, and I started to struggle thinking of tropes at that point, so might as well end there. So, in no particular order, here is my list of Star Trek tropes. Holodeck malfunctions. This is where our characters are on a holodeck and something happens that causes some kind of threat. Transporter shenanigans. The transporter is nonsense technology, so it's abused countless times throughout the franchise. Time travel. While not just a Star Trek trope, but a science fiction trope in general, time travel is used a lot. Shuttle crash. The things that are supposed to be able to go from the ship to the planet and back again sure crash many, many times. Security fail. Starfleet security is just the worst. They are all terrible at their jobs. And that's related to probably the next trope, probably the single most famous one in all of Star Trek. The red shirt death. The random guy who dies to prove that things are serious. This role is normally filled by a random security person that we've never seen before and probably doesn't even have a line. Only ship in range. This is where there's some crisis and only our heroes can get there in time. Side note, Enterprise and Voyager will be getting a pass on this as due to the nature of their shows, they are the only ship around. Resurrection. For a franchise well known for striving for scientific accuracy, death isn't as permanent as you think it should be. Godlike alien. We meet several alien races in Star Trek that have godlike powers and abilities. Earth-like planet. We sure do find many, many worlds that seem to be just like Earth. Even down to having history of Nazi Germany, the Romans, and 1930s Chicago gangsters. Yes, really. technobabble / questionable science. For all the scientific accuracy that Star Trek is well known for, many times they would result in just throwing in sciencey sounding words when what they are really saying is either complete gibberish or be totally meritless in actual science. Alien of the Week. This is where we meet an alien race only to never, ever see them again. Dumb Luck Survival. This is when our heroes are in mortal danger and do nothing or are powerless to stop it when they are saved by forces that are completely outside of their control. In other words, if it wasn't for dumb luck, our heroes would be dead. Hostages. This is the classic base under siege type of story, where our heroes are being held captive by powerful enemies. Or space hippies. Damn, Kirk, that's just embarrassing. Ancient aliens. If you were from a Southern American native tradition, what would you do when you find out that those wise old traditions of your people were not formed by your ancestors fighting for survival, but because ancient aliens felt white guilt and told your people how to survive because they didn't trust them being smart enough to figure it out on their own? Most would call that insulting and pandering, but no. You should be thanking Hollywood. And finally, mutations. Many Star Trek writers love to explore body horror and think that the human body works just like silly putty, and that it can morph into all kinds of shape and still work perfectly fine. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to go over. Thank you for your time. Computer, save file, and end transmission.
Affirmative. Processing. Terminating transmission. Ending communication.